You look up and there's some thinly placed rafters that basically are supposed to be floors, but it's difficult. A lot of buildings that are built in this style are really primarily one-story buildings and then 2 stories of storage. They're not really designed to live on. And there is a ladder going from the first floor to the second and the second to the third, and you can see all the way up. As far as you can tell, there's nothing on the second floor, there's nothing on the first floor.
I say we stay here and fire from cover.
Did you not see all of those demons walking inside? There are more than 2 in here. That was more than 2. I may not be great at counting, but I know that much.
You need to get farther in.
You hear, as you guys talk, shh.
I'm gonna try to seek out that voice.
Do we see the source?
Was that from the door that was banging?
Snoring continuing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Just continue the conversation upstairs or farther away.
Shh, we're
You
having
hear like a frustrated ugh, like a ugh.
Wait, do I have to...
Who's saying that?
Stop talking. You're talking.
Well,
I just point up and like,
We stop talking and we're gonna climb.
I can still hear you.
wait. I can start climbing.
Yeah, following.
okay.
While we're on the first floor, I'm gonna try to go to the door and kind of like lean in. Are you the door talking to me?
Idiots.
Will you just reveal yourself? I'm
I'm gonna cast message.
Okay.
And only if they see me, they can respond. That's the only time when they can. Look, we're here to help. We want these fucking demons out of here as much as you do.
Well, see, then you're not here to help me.
Does he say that to him? Like through the message?
No, he
Nobody-
just says it out loud because
Oh.
he can't see you,
Okay.
so he's just saying it.
Also, he hears it like
you
I'm
hear,
right
you hear like
beside
a
him.
raspberry, like a as it.
I'm gonna take out my rapier and take out my shield. I kind of just start pointing it towards the barrels.
Okay.
I'm gonna go walk over to the barrels, and then I walk over, peek in. I've got my rapier at the ready.
What you see is bread,
I
and it's moldy at that.
gently stab into the bread. Are you still there?
You stabbed some bread, and you stab it good. As you unrelinquish, as you like pull up your rapier,
Please tell me you have a bread
you
kebab.
see there's just like a piece of bread, and at the bottom a mouse, like biting onto it, staring at
2
you.
experience points.
So you're the bad guy here.
It's not hurting us, it's not helping us, we just need to leave it alone.
It knows we're here.
Right now, and it's not letting anybody else know we're here, so we just need to follow Claire.
Can I try to seek it out?
Like Annabelle before you, you notice that this entity there's no signs of subtle breathing, no heartbeats. There's nothing in this structure that's living at all. You can't, other than the mouse, you can't see or hear or perceive him whatsoever on any of the 3 floors, or in any of the barrels or any of the crates.
Even following its voice?
So you want to know where his voice is coming from?
Yes.
His voice is coming through a wall to your left. Did I not mention that earlier?
No.
No,
Oh,
you did
well,
not.
I should have. It's coming from a wall to your left.
Is the house talking to you again, Torin?
It's the left wall. I swear there's something in there.
It's all of us right now, and
Oh my God.
Everybody, listen. Look, if I tell you where I am, will you stop talking? Probably not. Well, then forget it.
alright, then stop talking to us then.
Can I ask the wall one more question?
Everybody's climbed up, and then you're just like lingering for a second, and you're like,
Hi, me again.
You up?
Oh god.
That 2 a.m. message spell.
Only within 120 feet.
What do you say to the wall?
So I think what I want to do is I get closer. I have my little rapier out, and I start prodding just little parts of the wall, and I get closer and closer to the voice. And I have my rapier kind of right out. You could hear it on the outside, just this little... I don't know if you can hear that, but that is the sound of my rapier. About to go through this wall if you don't tell me what you're doing here.
You're a dwarf, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty stubborn.
Listen, if you bust down that wall, I'm not sure what's gonna happen to this building. There is a hole in the roof. If you really want to talk to me, just drop down.
Drop down from the hole. Okay.
And you're scratching something.
I put my rapier up. I run up the ladder.
I want to stealthily move out and peer down to the floor below. Like
So
into
in
the
this hole.
So, yeah,
That's in
walk
the roof.
out, peer down, and then maybe report back, or depending on what I see.
So you go up here, and it looks to be some form of study. There are shelves and potions, and there's one of those drafting tables that you might see a monk like illuminating vellum in medieval times, and a variety of parchment and quills. And in the left side of the room, facing the window, is a little gnome sketching. Without looking down out the window, he's staring out the window, sketching in what seems to be a book of vellum pages, just like sketching something. He's not writing, he's sketching.
Okay. I think that I almost scooted on my belly and peered over and seen the gnome in this thing, and so I just lean over to everybody, look behind me, and I just go, and then I and just drop down.
Drop down. The gnome doesn't even react. He remains sitting there or standing there at the window without blinking, sketching something.
I just kind of sidle over and wait for everybody else to drop in.
So you guys make it to the second floor of the building that is adjacent to the one you started in.
Right.
In the left corner, there's two windows. In the left corner, you see a gnome. He looks like a normal gnome. He has some interesting something going on with his face, but none of you outwardly understand what it is. None of you three do. But when it comes to what he is doing, he is staring out the window, sketching vigorously in the pad. He does not say a word. Obviously, you guys aren't being stealthy coming down here, but he doesn't say a word.
Are you the boys?
That's Mr. Wall.
So he closes his little vellum book and packs it in his back pocket and turns.
What do you want?
How long have you been here?
He looks at his wrist, on which there is this massive mechanized thing. It is obtuse, and it sort of comes out of nowhere. It couldn't have been there before. He was just sketching and holding a book. But out comes this really rotund and intrusive contraption.
I flinch.
And he starts to spin and turn things, and he kind of smacks it around. I don't know.
What is that? Yeah, what you made there?
What's this? You want to know what this is?
Yeah, we
Well,
both.
too bad.
What's your
And
problem?
and it vanishes.
What's your big
I
problem?
know what it is?
It is it's a gnomish timekeeping device. Yes, you would know what that is.
How long has this been going on? How far have they breached in?
Well, I was standing here, minding my own business, and then all of a sudden, I hear some noises of some morons talking. And so I say to myself, who would be talking at a time like this, when there's so much to do, so much to see? And then you guys came down here, so that was about maybe 5 minutes.
He's obviously no help to us right now, and obviously is preoccupied.
I can help. I'm one of the most helpful gnomes ever. The fact that you even said that to me tells me just how smart you are, elf boy. You think you're so clever because you got pointy ears. Well, guess what? Pointy ears doesn't equal squat when a demon's gnawing
I
on them.
interrupt him and I say, "Good midday. I'm Claire Rick," and I say it in Gnomish.
He doesn't care. He puts his finger up to your mouth, and he goes, huh, and he starts to feel around you. So you let him. So he's feeling around, and he goes,
I don't even know your name yet.
and he goes to your left side, dunk,
Oh, you found it.
and he lifts up and he goes,
I should have known.
And he whips out a little device, and he starts to just do things to your chest.
Sorry.
Do I recognize the device?
What?
It is a
a
tool.
tool.
It's some
Okay.
form of
I'll let him
maintenance
do it.
tool. Okay. So you guys see this gnome approach the goblin, lift up his shirt, and just start going to town. What you see is intricate metalwork, various structures. And when he opens up this chassis, you see gears and pipes and fluids and all sorts of strange things going all throughout the goblin's body.
Right
as he
next
goes
to
through
a
and he's
lung.
like,
See, I knew the carburetor was ticking. I can have an ear for this.
Claire.
Yeah, that's
can
why I
have an
rolled
ear
a
for this.
13
I
on
told
my
my dad I could
stealth
have an ear for
earlier.
this.
It was clicking a little bit louder
But
than
you guys
normal.
didn't see that when we were naked.
and he goes, and he rubs his hands together and starts to,
It obviously
and then he goes
wasn't
there, and he
on the front
wipes and he
of
goes.
our Nines.
Now, I don't know what you've been up to, but your maintenance level is awful.
It's been abysmal since I left.
Where do you come from?
I always call it, I get confused in the translation. It's like the murder cabins or...
You come from Slaughter Cabin?
Yeah.
How did you make it here? I thought that place was evaporated.
I sit down and I pick up my foot. I walked.
And his sort of intrigue just
Drops.
fades.
I have no clue how you swindled one of my people into doing that impressive and extensive work to you.
I didn't convince anybody.
The charity of my people always frustrates
No,
me.
they saved my life.
Yeah, obviously that was a mistake. What are you doing here? Why are you here?
Well, it's a long story. Do you want me to start at the beginning?
No, never mind. I actually don't care. I've got a little bit of work to do here. So unless you're going to assist me, I really don't care to talk anymore.
What are you working on? And I grab his notebook.
Hey, no, give me that.
Hey, Claire.
And he's jumping, he's trying to grab it back, but you're
Really
a little
long
bit
arms.
too tall.
Can we
So-
get a little bit of context here?
I'm sorry. Here's this back.
I think he's making quite good progress. He didn't even want to talk to me.
He wants help with his work.
So he grabs the notebook and starts rummaging around.
And he's like, okay, fine. You want to know? I suppose I can give an impromptu lecture, but next time you're gonna have to pay me or something, because usually I have to charge a lot of money for this sort of thing.
We could probably find some from all the dead people.
What's his name again?
He didn't say.
He never said.
I say that a lot.
And he kind of like looks up. He's like, I'm something of a big deal. And he starts to get really awkward and like kind of stare off into space. And his pattern of his voice like pattern is a lot less confident. And he's starting to stumble over his words. He's like, I'm like, well, you could say, in the gnomish academic circles, kind of a big deal. I usually charge like 100 gold a head for one of these lectures, back in the old days especially, but nowadays it's a little bit harder, so. and he's just kind of going on about his academic accolades of places none of you have ever heard of.
I'm Torin.
And he gets out his book and he says T-O-R-N. And he looks at you and without blinking, he starts to sketch. And he points it at you, and there you are in a less than flattering image, sort of just looking kind of stupid as you know, there's an
Cross-eyed.
arrow pointing, and your name is misspelled. It's like Taron.
It's not bad for a first try.
That's very cute. Very
Cute.
similar to how Claire
Cute.
rolls.
I was going for stupid.
And he starts to scratch it out with
Why
his
did you
pen.
draw them?
What?
The creatures outside, why are you drawing them?
You're part of the far side, aren't you?
That was impressive.
Born into it, yes.
Okay. Now this is someone I can talk to. Well, okay, since you asked, and show interest as a fellow academic.
Absolutely.
I will translate.
He's still speaking common.
Oh man.
I love it.
He starts to go on about how he was a individual of the utmost academic standing until suddenly
What is your
his-
name? Maybe I've heard of you.
Anyway,
and he starts to go on about how his whole just this long diatribe about how he used to be this fantastic orator and then things went to hell, and he's been traveling the world ever since to create a book on demonology, and he's been studying demons.
So when I heard there was demon incursions in the Ashlands, I imagined, well, okay, if there's demon incursions, the Ashlands are usually pretty safe. So that's a pretty good bet for me to get up close and personal without getting overwhelmed or dealing with chaos corruption. So here I am. I didn't know they were gonna blast this thing down. I was just sitting here minding my own business.
So does that mean you could tell us about some of those creatures outside?
Which one you want to know about?
That big one.
Oh yeah.
And his sort of smile depreciates, and he looks in, and he goes,
Right, that one.
and he starts like he's got some loose papers he pulls out of his pocket. He's kind of like, and he goes,
Yeah, that's what we call a Vavakia.
Is this conversation audible from where I am?
It's one
I
floor
would say
up.
so.
Okay.
Um,
Do I recognize that name?
Yeah, I'm also
A Vavakia,
wondering.
myth, demons that can corral demons. It's death. And that's all you know.
Do you know if he has any weakness, by chance?
Weakness!
What about level? Sorry, mistranslation with no miss.
So, I'll put it in a metaphor. You're an ant. That is a god.
Like that far of a difference, like not like a person that can squish an ant, but like a god.
Oh no, if you touch it, you're just...
And he stops himself. He goes,
Actually, I lied, I'm kidding. Kind of a trickster. He's actually not that big of a deal. He's just a fat guy.
I
Probably
just want to see what'll happen if we fight him.
That was gnomish for he wants us to be part of his research.
I don't know what you're talking about.